There are so many different mushroom varieties out there. It's amazing that most people only know one species of mushrooms, right? Agaricus bisporus, that's the button mushroom, cremini, and portobello. But the amount of mushroom varieties is huge. When you look at the specialty mushroom field, you have lion's mane, chicken of the woods, shiitake, blue oyster, yellow oyster, pink oyster, porcini, chanterelle, morels. The list goes on and on and on and on. And with that, there isn't just one flavor that mushrooms have. You know, there's some people that say, I don't really like to eat mushrooms. The texture doesn't do it for me, or I don't like the flavor of mushrooms. And it's amazing to me to hear that, because there's so many different flavors that mushrooms have because of all these different varieties. And there's so many different textures that mushrooms have because of all these different varieties. So don't lump all mushrooms into one category of this is what mushrooms taste like, or this is what mushrooms texture is. If you try these different varieties and try different methods of cooking them, a lot of times you're going to get different tastes and different textures. Mushrooms are very absorbent, you know, things like lion's mane and chicken of the woods, even shiitake, they soak up a lot of flavor. So depending on what you cook them in, they're gonna have different flavors. I just learned of this new recipe from Japan called Sudanaki or something along those lines, where it's actually a slow steep of the mushroom in soy sauce. So basically you add about 4 tablespoons of sugar, 4 tablespoons of soy sauce, and around 300 grams of shiitake or lion's mane or oyster mushrooms, and just simmer that for 10-15 minutes. And the texture becomes this kind of like almost jerky-like texture. And adding that into a miso soup or something is absolutely incredible. So with all the different varieties we have out there, there's a lot of different types, there's a lot of different ways that mushrooms can taste and textures that they can take on. The other thing about having so many different mushroom varieties is that the nutritional content and the medicinal value of the mushrooms change a lot, right? So not all these mushrooms are producing the same chemicals and compounds. So there's a huge range of what we can get from mushrooms depending on the variety that you're consuming. For example, lion's mane is really healthy for the brain and the gut. Right? These two are generally connected, gut and brain, and lion's mane is really good at supporting that. The aranicinoids that are found in it and the beta-glucans that are found in it help to support those systems. Reishi is really good for the immune system and for the heart. Let's see, maitake, really good for blood pressure, So these different mushroom varieties have all these different compounds that are affecting the body in different ways. So I think the really important thing is to know that mushrooms, there isn't just one. There's so many varieties and there's so much change and difference that don't lump all mushrooms into one category. Really take the time to get to know individual ones and see what the different varieties, what their impact is, and different ways that you might be able to prepare them and maybe enjoy eating them. So if someone doesn't really like eating oyster mushrooms, maybe they'll like shiitake mushrooms or morel mushrooms or something. So enjoy eating mushrooms, enjoy eating a lot of different varieties, and hopefully you can get out and forage for some, because then the amount of varieties really increases beyond what you can find in the supermarket.